Upgrade Flow+Easy+Survival in a different realm plus cultivation of Immortals, Esports player Nansi Snow wearing tour. Others. Character and profession selection plus fully functional game system Nan Sixue. Only equipped with random characters plus no game system. The game is so difficult, there are always people who want to take her life. Fortunately, at the beginning, she encountered a heartwarming creditor who gave her own system and allowed her to squander it, thus carrying a heavy burden of debt. The game is more targeted, and her healing skills and resurrection mechanism are all ineffective against her. Fortunately, the game official sent a notorious creditor to deliver a computer, a warehouse, and life-saving items with meticulous care, allowing her to experience the fun of the game and thus carrying an additional debt. Nan Sixue said, "There's not too much debt, as long as you're alive, you can always repay it." The game is already difficult, but it also has to guard against the treacherous hearts of people. Friends stab the knife, it's really even more difficult. In the early stage, team up to play games together to complete tasks, earn money, and improve life skills. In the later stage, cultivate Immortals to fight against the final boss. Keywords of the novel. I am struggling to survive in the cultivation game without a pop-up window. I am downloading the complete text of the cultivation game struggling to survive. I am reading the latest chapter of the cultivation game struggling to survive. Chapter 1. 001, Welcome to the game. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1001. Welcome to the game. After winter in the south, it is still sunny and not as cold as in the north. However, the temperature difference between day and night is quite large. It is hot during the day and freezes into dogs at night, but none of these can stop the night owl from traveling. Nan Sixue is one of the night owls. She has made an appointment with her friends to go to the internet cafe tonight to fight for 300 rounds. At exactly 21 o'clock, she casually picked up the down jacket hanging from the hanger, put it on casually, stepped into her short boots, and left the dormitory gracefully. Venus Internet Cafe. Why hasn't Xiaoxue come yet? Huang Mao stretched his neck and looked at the entrance of the internet cafe. On the way here, don't block my line of sight, sit down. Red Mao placed his hand on Yellow Mao's shoulder and pressed him down. A beautiful woman sat next to the two of them, leisurely painting her nails. Did you all remember what I just said? Huang Mao nodded and said, "Don't worry, Sister Xin, I promise to complete the task. I will make Xiaoxue have an unforgettable night." "That's good," said Li Yuexin with a satisfied smile. As soon as the words fell, a tall fairy appeared at the entrance of the internet cafe. She was 1.73 meters tall, with skin like her name, snow-white and flawless. Her long, wavy hair over her shoulders lay quietly on her back, and her peach blossom eyes filled with stars shone with infinite light. Her rose-red lips curved slightly, and she smiled sweetly. The night owls looked at the door one after another, drooling unconsciously. Huang Mao and Hong Mao waved. "Here, Xiaoxue." Nan Sixue saw them and walked straight over, took off her down jacket, and sat down next to Li Yuexin. "Let's get started." The three people put away the messy snacks and nail polish on the desktop, started to control the mouse and click on the game client. Form a team of 4 and start black. From the moment the game started, there were many spectators gathered behind them. Xue Jie's move of shifting shapes and shadows was too clever, just avoiding the opponent's big move. There is no doubt that Snow Sister and her team won this game. That's right, our Snow Sister is XTDL, NO1, these small competitions, small cases. In the moment of deciding the winner, a thunderbolt struck, causing the entire internet cafe to lose power and darken, with all computers turning off black screens. Sleeping trough, did you make a mistake? Isn't this a scam? Boss, quickly turn on the generator. The buddies in the internet cafe were shouting and creating a chaotic scene. The boss ran to the computer room and turned on the generator. After the generator started running, the lights in the hall lit up. "Hey, where are Sixue and the others? Shouldn't you be going home? But the game hasn't finished yet. Nan Sixue stood in a square box in confusion. Where is this? System prompt. Welcome to the large ancient-style Xianxia game competition platform. Players are requested to choose their favorite characters. A. Wandering Pianist. B. Xiaoyao. Dr. C. Invincible Swordsman. D. Local Ruffians and Thugs. E. Handsome Twin Swordsman. F. Random. What situation is it? Didn't I hack at an internet cafe? The system sounds again. Please select a character for the player. Nan Sixue sighed helplessly. A. Right. System prompt. Sorry, the role is full. Please change your selection. B. System prompt. Sorry, the role is full. Please change your selection. C. Is it okay now? System prompt. Sorry, the role is full. Please change your selection. D. It's really troublesome. System prompt. Sorry, the role is full. Please change your selection. What kind of game is E? System prompt. Sorry, the role is full. Please change your selection. The options in front of F are all fake. System prompt. Congratulations to the player for selecting a character, human race, no system, no spiritual roots. Now entering the game, please be prepared. 3, 2, 1. Game background. System continent. Everyone has an advanced system, which helps you become a god. The screen switches, and a vast green grassland comes into view, like an endless ocean. Sleeping slot. Am I here without a system or spiritual roots to make soy sauce? The protagonist has no system, there will be spiritual roots in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. 002, Hello, this is the system continent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2002. Hello, this is the system continent. System prompt. Dear player, hello, this is the system continent. Players need to defeat the lord of the continent here in order to return to their original world. System prompt. Warm reminder, players only have one life. If they die on the system continent, they cannot return to their original world. Nan Sixue greeted its ancestors for 18 generations in her heart. Ding dong. System prompt. Congratulations to the player on becoming our 22,222nd lucky player. The system will give you a beginner gift package as a gift. Please click to check it out. She scratched her hair silently and found that her big waves were missing. Sleeping trough. Did the game help me with plastic surgery? But without a mirror in her hand, she couldn't see what she had become, only knowing that she was wearing a snow-white Taoist robe. System prompt. Please click to receive the beginner gift package. She helplessly raised her hand and pressed the receive button. Then a peachwood sword and 2 teleportation symbols appeared in front of him. That's it. It's really big enough. System prompt. The newbie gift package has been sent out. Congratulations to players in advance for an unforgettable gaming journey. This system service ends here. Goodbye. A light flashed away. Her feet were empty, and the next second she fell onto the solid ground. When she looked up again, the street market was in front of her. I thought the system was deceiving her, but I didn't expect it to be really an ancient-style game. Look at the pedestrians wearing ancient costumes, wearing various swords and magical tools on their waists, and carrying them on their backs. The building scene is also similar to the popular One Dream Jianghu game on the market now, which is undoubtedly an ancient-style immortal hero game. Years of gaming experience have taught her that this is a beginner's village. Everyone has a system, but she doesn't. Does that prove that she needs to work on a system first? Then upgrade, defeat the boss, and return smoothly. The elegant room on the second floor of a tea house. A man and a woman sat opposite each other, each looking at their own system panel. System prompt. 22,222nd player, human race, Nan Sixue. The woman sneered, I thought it was an elf race, but I didn't expect it to be a lowly human race. Male. Let's give you this human race as a gift. I don't lack experience. Female. Click on the panel, take on the assassination mission. Task content. Kill a novice player of the human race and gain 100 experience. The woman looked disappointed and said, it would be great if it were a fairy tribe. One is worth 500 experience. I just missed 499 experience and got promoted to level 5. The highest level is level 99, and the two of them are also beginners in the human race, but they entered the game 7 days earlier than Nan Sixue. Character level experience can be obtained by completing tasks, as well as by killing monsters and other players. The woman finished complaining, drank a cup of tea, picked up the Youyou knife on the table, and walked out. The Youyou sword is a blue quality sword, much more advanced than a white quality peachwood sword. The equipment quality is divided into white, yellow, blue, red, purple, and gold. People with systems can collect materials and provide them to the system, which automatically synthesizes equipment, making it very convenient. However, people without a system can only afford to buy it themselves or create it themselves. The trading currency in mainland China is Lingyou, and 100 Lingyou is equivalent to 1 yuan. In order to learn how to manufacture a system, Nan Sixue went to a bookstore and inquired about relevant methods. The bookstore owner warmly greeted her and said, Miss Xia, may I ask what secret code you need to purchase? Sorry boss, I want to inquire with you about how to build the system. The bookstore owner looked at her strangely and said, do you want to build a system? Yes, what materials are needed? She looked serious. The bookstore owner mocked and said, little girl, the system is not something that ordinary people can create. Only game developers have this ability. As a newcomer to the mainland, don't have wild ideas. Cut, who do you look down on? Excuse me. She wisely turned around and walked out. The bookstore owner did not restrain his mocking expression, but instead laughed even brighter. As soon as she crossed the threshold, a knife lay across her neck. System. Girl, you can never have a system drop in your lifetime. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. 003, Hunting and Being Hunted. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3003. Hunting and Being Hunted. The blade is sharp and comes with a cool breeze when applied. Nan Sixue instinctively retreated. The sharp knife bit tightly and didn't let go, as if it didn't stop without seeing blood. The owner of the 6 harmony knife curled up the corner of his wicked smile, with a look of victory in sight. A beginner is a beginner. At this point, if you don't summon the system for help, you'll be foolishly waiting to die. Nan Sixue's back collided with the wall of the bookstore, and there was no way to retreat. In the moment before her head parted ways, she grabbed the useless peachwood sword, slapped open the blade, and quickly rotated to the left side. While avoiding it, she pulled out her legs and ran. Want to run? No way. The woman clicked on the system, took out the immobilization talisman from the warehouse, threw it towards her back. The talisman paper flew over with a whistling sound. Upon hearing the commotion behind her, Nan Sixue disregarded all odds and drew the precious teleportation talisman, returned to the birthplace. The woman watched helplessly as the prey turned into a ball of light and flew away, feeling extremely angry. The man ran up from the tea house and said, "What's going on?" Not defeated. The woman looked fiercely in the direction where Nan Sixue was leaving and said, "No. I underestimated the enemy. It's okay, don't worry, she must have returned to her birthplace. Let's go and wait for the rabbit." The teleportation symbol can only be teleported to the place it has been to. For beginners who have just entered the village, the places they have visited are only the birthplace and the novice village. Okay. The two of them also used teleportation symbols to fly over, so they couldn't waste time. After all, many people were squatting at the birth point hunting beginners. There are not only the two of them who are eyeing Nan Sixue, but they have not yet taken action. Everyone is watching and trying to catch up, especially players with LV2 level. They are weak, pick one and count one. Upon returning to her birthplace, Nan Sixue noticed many malicious gazes staring at her from a hidden place. She naturally knew that this was the hunter's killing intent. She is a prey. This game of the pit father is too pit. Everyone else has an invincible universal system, but she doesn't. Engage in discrimination. Is the system jealous of her for being too strong? Although she is the game king, the gaming platform cannot be so unfair. Xianxia game, without spiritual roots, what's going on? She crouched at her birth site pondering, while more and more hunters were nearby, and she looked steadily around. They don't take action, is it because there is a protective mechanism at the birth point? She knocked on the box and said, "Hey GM, can I exchange my teleportation symbol for other items?" System prompt. Sure, what do players need to redeem? A. 5 numb talismans. B. A dungeon talisman. C. 10 hypnotic talismans. D. 10,000 Lingyu. What are the rules for using Dun Di Fu? System prompt. You can go anywhere on the map, even if you haven't been there before. That's it. Is there a safe city on this continent that is suitable for beginners' development? System prompt. Sorry, this question is not within the scope of our system's answer. Players are advised to experience it themselves. MMP. Okay, help me exchange for a dungeon talisman. System prompt. Okay, please put up the exchange items for players. Nan Sixue took out the last teleportation symbol and placed it on the box. The talisman paper emitted a dazzling white light, instantly changing its color. The original teleportation talisman is blue, while the new escape talisman is pig liver color. She picked up the new talisman paper, held it in her hand, and thought about where to go. RPG-type games not only require upgrades, but also earn money. Only with money can one purchase equipment and props to survive in the game. After thinking it over, she used rune paper and said, "Go to a city where you can make money without fighting." The Dun Di Fu quickly emitted light and drifted out of 3 places. A. Youyou City, B. Entertainment City, C. Do Beast City. Except for the first one, she doesn't know where it is, the other two can guess. The Entertainment City is probably the Gambling City, and the Animal Fighting City also belongs to the Gambling City, but the gambling content is different. Without capital, there is no way to gamble. Maybe there are still many big and tough guys, and they will inevitably cause a lot of trouble. So she pressed seeking 5-star ratings online. The rising babies, have pity on me, Auntie. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. 004, The Youyou of Youyou City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4004. The Youyou of Youyou City. A. Nan Sixue was immediately dragged into the ground and made a detour underground. Tue. After guarding for half a day, I can still let her run. The woman bit on the straw, feeling extremely angry. The man squinted into the distance and said, "It seems like we should go to Youyou City." The straw fell from her mouth, and the woman gasped, "I'm convinced that a newcomer dares to be so arrogant." Youyou City, also known as Ghost City, has no normal creatures inside, it's all monsters. Well, I don't want this prey anymore. She didn't dare to chase after Youyou City, called out the system, and cancelled the mission. System prompt. Task not completed, deduct 200 experience points. Pup, a mouthful of blood spurted from the sky, and the woman knelt down. Youyou City. Nan Sixue emerged from the ground, opened her beautiful eyes, and was instantly shrouded in the darkness before her. What kind of place? It was still daytime just now, why did it suddenly fall into the night? A gust of wind blew, and she unconsciously shuddered. She hugged her arms and walked forward with curiosity. Approaching the city gate, I finally saw the plaque above clearly. The plaque had been in disrepair for a certain period of time, with 3 broken words and numerous marks. It was barely recognizable as Youyou City, that's right. So unlucky. Selected an abandoned city. Her heart was bleeding, and the only teleportation token exchanged for a loneliness. Loneliness means loneliness. The path you choose, even with tears in your eyes, must be completed. She did a good job in psychological construction and walked in. There is a straight road ahead, far from the end, surrounded by white mist, making it difficult to see if there are any buildings. She didn't make a stop and moved forward at a constant speed. I don't know how long I've been walking, but she's a bit tired. Sigh, there's no such thing as a rundown place, not even an inn. It's like you have money to stay at an inn. What kind of thing? Who is talking? She turned her head to the left and suddenly saw a young master in white. Stay calm on the face, but feel flustered in the heart. Lying down. Ghost. The young master in white also turned his face and looked at her. At this moment, she saw his appearance clearly. Well, she looks the same as her class monitor. In just 4 words, she's a poor scholar. However, the cultured scumbag without glasses appears somewhat heroic. He smiled absent-mindedly and said, "Are you afraid of me?" Suddenly something appeared that I didn't know was human or ghost. Can you not be afraid? Even if she's not afraid of ghosts, coming out like this without saying hello is still very scary. She remained silent, remained vigilant, and slowly distanced herself. She only calmed down when he raised his hand and summoned a system panel. He checked Nan Sixue's personal information and saw that she was still labeled as a newcomer, so he couldn't help but frown. How did beginners get here? He tapped on the panel, retracted the system, and faced her. This is not where newcomers should come. I'll take you back to the beginner's village. Nan Sixue refused his kindness and managed to escape from the novice village without going back to be abused. And she also spent a escape talisman worth 10,000 spirit jade. If she doesn't earn the money back, she will get beaten wherever she goes. Seeing that she didn't want to return to the novice village, he didn't force her either. Anyway, he had fulfilled the task of protecting the newcomers, and the newcomers died without his control. Maintain a distance of 2 meters between the two and walk their own paths. He. A girl's laughter drifted past, accompanied by the sound of a yo-yo ball appearing in the white mist. Yo-yo ball flew over without saying a word, targeting Nan Sixue. The young master in white threw a dart to open the yo-yo ball. Thank you, Nan Sixue said lightly as she glanced at him. If you really want to thank me, just go back to the novice village. He didn't look at her and stared at the phantom ahead. Tisk. She was too lazy to pay attention to him. She could avoid the blow just now and didn't need anyone to rescue her. This refined scumbag would add insult to injury. Is it to make her owe a life-saving favor? He. Laughter kept coming, and the yo-yo ball came again. This time, 2 yo-yo balls attacked Nan Sixue. The meddlesome person threw a dart again, and as a result, Yo-Yo took a turn in the air. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. 005, Level Killer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5005. Level Killer. Suddenly turning around and attacking, the man in white couldn't avoid it in time. In order to repay the kindness just now, Nan Sixue drew a peachwood sword, rolled up the thread of a leisurely ball, and threw it to the right. 2 yo-yo balls collided, banging, sparking and falling to the ground one after another. The man was slightly shocked and didn't expect to be saved. Nan Sixue felt a bit desperate. Her fragile peachwood sword was cut off by the silk thread, and now she was truly penniless. The phantom of the white mist emitted 3 leisurely balls while the two were lost in thought. Shoo, shoo. The goal is still Nan Sixue. The persimmon is picked and squeezed softly. She has no level, no weapons, and is easy to bully. The man called up the system, took out a light shield talisman, used it, and put it on her body. She saw an extra layer of green oval glass beside her, and 3 yo-yo balls hit the glass and fell to the ground with a clang. This talisman is not bad. You go first. The duration of the light shield is only 12 seconds. As soon as the man finished speaking, the light shield began to disintegrate. I can't help but praise, Sixue obediently ran away without any burden in her heart. The phantom flashed and caught up. The man made a mistake and unexpectedly, the mission boss also ran away. He is currently at level 20, with a cumulative experience of 109,551. After completing this killing mission, he can gain 60,000 experience and be promoted to level 21. If the mission fails, he will lose twice his experience, which is 120,000, and his level will be directly reduced to 19. The higher the level, the more experience is required for upgrading, making it easier to downgrade and harder to upgrade. It took 3 months of hard work to accumulate over 100,000 experience, and the period between 20.21 is a watershed. Therefore, nothing can fail. He opened the map, checked the boss's spot of light, and then found that the boss was moving towards the palace, guessing which direction the new girl had just fled in. Not good, the palace is full of monsters. If she enters as a newcomer, she will be bitten to the bone. He took out a teleportation talisman and teleported it directly to the palace gate. On the other hand, Nan Sixue ran wildly in the white mist, unable to distinguish the direction, relying solely on intuition to choose the path. There is also a leisurely monster following behind, constantly attacking. Every time she attacked, she brushed past her. Her spirit is tense, she just wants to get rid of it quickly. After running 9 streets, she saw a fireworks shop and without hesitation, rushed over. Grab a few boxes of sand cannons casually, walk out of the store, and throw all the sand cannons in your hand onto other fireworks. Crackling, boom, boom, boom. The flammable firecrackers in the store were immediately ignited, and then the fireworks danced wildly, exploding in various colors, engulfing the Youyou monster. The man in white crouching in front of the palace saw the brilliant fireworks exploding in the sky and leisurely enjoyed it. Until the system pops up a prompt. Kill the Youyou monster failed, deduct 120,000 experience, and level down by 1 level. His calm face cracked open. I can't even figure it out if I want to break my head. Why did the boss die? Did that girl take care of you? The fireworks feast exploded for about half an hour before stopping. Nan Sixue didn't leave until the fire was extinguished. The man arrived at a place with a strong smell of fireworks and saw her back. He immediately shouted, "Sister, wait." For the sake of him shielding herself with light, she spoke to him with great compassion. What's up? He checked her personal information again and found that she was still at level 0. Not normal by reasoning, if you solve the Youyou monster, you will have 60,000 experience and can be upgraded from 0 to level 20 in one go. Didn't she solve it? There are other high-level players in this city. With this thought in mind, he then clicked on the level ranking list. Rank 1 is a mysterious tycoon with a level of 99 and a full-level person. His name is unknown and his coordinates are unknown. There is a big gap between rank 2 and rank 1, with a level of 70. Her name is Li Yuexin and her coordinates are Penglai Wonderland. The third, fourth, and second places are at level 69, named Huang Ximing and Hong Xingping, who are also in Penglai Wonderland. Many people behind are not in Youyou City. It's impossible for the top scorer to compete with him for a small boss, right? Irritable. He scratched his hair. Nan Sixue saw that he had been silent for a long time, so she stopped paying attention to him and turned around to leave. On the Kunlun Mountains. A person wearing a black Taoist robe, of unknown gender, with their back facing the public eye, displayed on the system panel in front of them. Player. Nan Sixue. Race. Human race. Occupation. Empty. Level. LV0. The person raised their hand to block the profession a little bit, and then 4 words popped out. Level Killer. Accumulated total experience at level 0.20. 59550, upgrading from level 20 to level 21 requires 110,000 experience. Accumulated total experience at level 0.21. 169550, so 20.21 is a big watershed. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. 006, Crispy Fried Pot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6006. Crispy Fried Pot. Level Killer refers to someone who specifically obstructs others from completing tasks, causing them to fail and lose experience and level. If you successfully lower a person's level to 0, you will be promoted 1 level. The black-robed person closed the system panel and disappeared on Kunlun Mountain. Within the leisurely city. Nan Sixue saw that it was getting dark, so she went to the palace to spend the night. She sneaked in through the back door and didn't want to be discovered by the palace owner. The back door was very quiet, without even a ghost. She walked through the backyard and arrived at the entrance of the kitchen. There was a clanging sound of pots and ladles inside, as if preparing dinner for the owner of the palace. Gollum Gollum. She was also a bit hungry and sneaked in. As soon as I entered, those jingling sounds stopped. She felt a thump in her heart. Have you been discovered? She slowly looked up, but didn't see anyone, but the dishes on the stove were still cooking. The little heart lifted up in seconds. No need to guess, this is definitely not normal. She slowly stepped back, and just as she was about to reach the threshold, a spatula quickly flew over. She immediately dodged behind the door panel. With a bang, the spatula hit the door panel and fell to the ground. Not finished. The knives on several cutting boards were about to move, making a dense sound of chopping. She didn't hesitate, kicked off the door panel with her foot, carried it behind her back, and rushed out with all her might. The kitchen knives brushed and flew out, chasing after the target and chopping. The fragile door panel cracked open after being stabbed 3 times, and she decisively abandoned the door panel and ran with all her might. Immediately after, a swarm of kitchen utensils flew out of the kitchen, even the pot filled with dishes joined in the fun. The hot soup spilled everywhere, and the fragrance immediately spread. She turned around, aimed at the pot of vegetables, bent down to avoid the kitchen utensils, and grabbed a large spoon as a sword. The large round pot filled with dishes rotated at high speed. She poked the spoon into the pot, pressed it down, and then picked up the large round pot and hid in the bathroom. In the big round pot, shredded pork and green pepper with green pepper is boiling, which will make the fragrance straight into her nose. She unabashedly scooped a spoonful and savored it deliciously. A spoonful of it warmed the stomach. After filling her stomach, she opened the window and climbed out. The empty round pot suddenly flew towards her, as if to swallow her rhythm, vigorously sucking on her shares. She sat completely in the pot. This is the dish I ate, is it cooking me? At this moment, the bathroom door was knocked open by something. She fixed her gaze on a bottle of sesame oil. The sesame oil leans 45 degrees and rushes over, pouring oil on the head. She couldn't break free, so she simply raised her hand and grabbed the bottleneck of the sesame oil to stop it from pouring oil. The big pot brother under the bottom of the pea stalk made a gloomy voice. Wash her clean, pour oil, fry the pan. Guo suddenly pried open the faucet, and the water suddenly splashed down, making her whole body wet. See brother Xiangyo suddenly exerted force, and the fragrant oil in the bottle kept gushing out, flowing on her hands, running along her arms, pouring all over her body. A fire flew in from the window. Crispy fried wok. As soon as the eerie voice fell, Nan Sixue threw out the sesame oil bottle in her hand and smashed it towards the torch. She quickly landed on both feet, pouted out her P.shares, and pointed a large round pot at the torch. The sesame oil and torch collided, causing a small explosion. The shock wave of the explosion pushed the large round pot out of the bathroom. So it also pushed her out. Despite being able to overcome her difficulties, she ran desperately out of the palace despite PP being burned. It's easier to come in than to go out. All the gates of the palace automatically closed, and the murals on the walls, reliefs on the ceiling, surrounding stone carvings, candles on candlesticks, and so on all came to life, densely surrounding the invaders. The uneven large round pot rolled over unsteadily, one after another. Fragrant crispy fryer, don't run away. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. 007, Don't Hunger Like This. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7007. Don't hunger like this. To be honest, as a seasoned gamer, what scenes have you never seen before? The whole screen is filled with scenes of monsters, which is not uncommon. Nan Sixue is extremely calm, and in the eyes of others, she can also be considered a monster. The man was watching the excitement outside the palace earlier, and he was still worried about the boss being robbed. He wanted to see if it was she who killed the boss. Inside the palace, a group of non-biological creatures attacked foreign invaders. The big round pots were not spared at their feet, and they were all trampled into flat pots. But its eerie voice continued. Nan Sixue kicked left and then kicked again, breaking two stone figures. She hooked up a spear with one foot, and as soon as she grasped the spear with both hands, a mixed bag of swords and knives arrived ahead. She lifted her spear to block them and pushed forward forcefully, overthrowing them all. The stone carving monster is relatively brittle and can easily break its head, hands, and feet when it falls, making it easy to solve. Immediately after, she firmly tied her horse's legs, raised her spear high, and rotated 360 degrees to knock off the head of the statue that had surrounded her. The man was so frightened that he made several cold sweats for the statues. Is this a newcomer? After playing for half an hour, Nan Sixue began to lose strength. Live combat is much more tiring than operating a mouse or keyboard. She was forced to the corner of the wall by them, sweating profusely. Sweat dripped into her eyes, blurring her vision. She raised her hand to wipe away the sweat from her forehead and took deep breaths. Was he killed in action at the beginning? There's enough bad luck. Dang 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 dang, the bell tower of the castle rang, and the statues stopped moving immediately. At 6 o'clock in the evening, the castle owner appeared, and candles bounced back to the candlestick on the wall to illuminate the owner. The creaking sound of boots came from the second floor, very slow and leisurely. Nan Sixue cautiously moved towards the window. The whole room is filled with non-living creatures, and the owner is probably also a ghost. If we don't leave now, we'll wait a little longer. At the turn of the stairs, a long boot appeared, made of dark leather, adorned with golden trim and hibiscus patterns, all showcasing nobility. She didn't have time to look at the legless boot, opened the window, and climbed out. If she turns around now, she won't be able to run away. That boot was wrapped in a black mist, it was a great monster that could capture the soul. Just a glance at it could control it. The man saw her fleeing in embarrassment and shouted, "This way." Upon hearing the sound, Nan Sixue saw the person coming and immediately ran towards him. Not far away, all the doors and windows of the entire palace were pushed open from inside, and black air sprayed out. The man was startled and hurriedly took out a teleportation talisman from the system. He ran a few steps forward, grabbed Nan Sixue's wrist, and immediately used the talisman to escape to the neighboring city. The Entertainment City. At a safe place, Nan Sixue shook off his hand and said calmly, "Thank you." The man had just experienced the thrilling scene and now he had forgotten about grabbing the boss. "You're welcome, my name is Mingyu," he said, Nan Sixue. "I know your name, but how did you provoke the master in the palace?" She didn't really want to reveal the situation inside. "I don't know." Mingyu said to himself, "Yes, you've just arrived, so it's normal for you to accidentally get into trouble. However, I've heard from seniors that as long as you touch the master's food, the master will appear. I think you shouldn't be so hungry and steal those things, right?" She didn't want to interact with him anymore. Mingyu didn't notice her black face and the conversation changed. "Let's go to the inn and stay overnight, take a hot shower, and have a good night's sleep." "No, I don't have money," she decisively refused. "It's okay, I'll lend you a loan. You open the system, we'll connect, and I'll transfer the money to you," he said with a passionate attitude as he opened the system. Then, raising his eyebrows, he signaled to Nan Sixue to hurry up. She looked at him calmly and said, "Sorry, I don't have a system." End of this chapter. Chapter 8. 008, Fish on the Cutting Board. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8008. Fish on the Cutting Board. In the system continent, everyone has a dedicated system. She didn't. Mingyu's peach blossom eyes widened even larger than Karanzi's. How could that happen? There was a mistake in the game. Without a system, it means she cannot accumulate experience or upgrade. Except for not being able to upgrade, everything else has no impact. Nan Sixue crossed her arms and said, "I also want to know." After a while, he still invited her to stay together. "It's okay, let's find the reason slowly in the future. Before we get to the system, I suggest you stay in a safe city." The two of them entered the Lucky Grass Inn and attracted countless gazes. Mingyu thought he was handsome, and it was something to be happy to have someone staring at him, without paying attention to those gazes. He asked for 2 single rooms and spent 20 spirit jade. Nan Sixue secretly recorded the debt and owed him 10 spirit jade. 2 people go upstairs. I ran into a group of people going downstairs on the stairs, all dressed in the same attire. The sky blue Taoist robe and black high cap look exactly like impermanence. 2 people turned sideways to make way. The woman in charge stopped in front of Nan Sixue for a second, glanced at her from the corner of her eye, then passed by and went downstairs to have dinner. Nan Sixue inexplicably touched her nose. It smells so bad, there's a strong smell. Sixue, let's go, Mingyu urged ahead. She lifted her foot to follow. Who were those people just now? Mingyu said, they belong to the Blue Mountain sect, which is a spontaneous small group, forming a group strategy game. And you? He said proudly, I belong to the Liangxing sect. Do you want to join? Liangxing sect, leader Mingyu, with 1 member. She doesn't have a system, so naturally she can't find this information. I don't have a system, can I join your sect? Yes, I am the master of the clan, and I am the final say. Bai Bei is proud. It's quite impressive. Before she could agree, he knocked on the brick and said, that's settled. From now on, you will be a member of our Liangxing team. Let's fight monsters together in the future. She wanted to refuse, but as she turned her head, she realized that there was no sign of him. Mingyu had already entered the room. With a helpless sigh, he pushed open the door in front of him and walked in. What happened today is so unbelievable that I haven't figured it out yet. After playing all day, she was also exhausted, and just as she glued the pillow, she fell asleep. After an unknown amount of time, there was a burst of explosions downstairs, causing the 2nd floor to collapse. Nansi Shuelian fell off with his bed. With such a commotion, she naturally woke up, her bed shattered, and she wrapped herself in a blanket to alleviate the injury. But the crisis has not been resolved. The people in blue clothes pressed their swords against her neck one by one. Mingyu heard the explosion and rushed out of the room, only to find that the neighboring room had collapsed. Damn it! He looked into the pit and saw that Nan Sixue was surrounded. Newcomers attract hatred, they are like fish on the chopping board, and everyone wants to kill them. Nan Sixue got up a bit angry, and being awakened in this way made her even more angry. She lifted her sharp cold eyes and looked at the ill-intentioned person. What do you mean? The woman in blue sneered, of course I killed you, didn't I see it? She sneered and said, I can tell. The other party needed experience, so she would never let anyone around her kill her. She pinched her wrist and waited for the opportunity to move. The woman in blue took out a white-quality steel knife from the system and walked forward with victory in sight. At this moment, Nan Sixue lifted the blanket from her body, wrapped it around the weapon and sword in front of her, and then kicked the group of people to the woman's side. She felt nauseous when those stinky men touched her. The woman in blue is completely angry. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. 009, Don't be afraid, just give it a try. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9009. Don't be afraid, just give it a try, you bitch. Go ahead and die. The steel knife struck straight, and the white knife aura, along with one's own person, blew down. Nan Sixue couldn't avoid the aura of cutting and was considering how many layers of skin would fall when a familiar green light lit up in front of her. Mingyu fitted her with a light shield. Sixue, run quickly. At this moment it was not advisable to be aggressive. She stepped out of the inn and Mingyu jumped out of the second-floor window to pick her up. The woman in blue will definitely not let her go, holding a steel knife and wanting to run outside, but she was pinned down by an immobilization talisman. The innkeeper, holding the account book in one hand and a brush in the other, calmly calculated the accounts. This guest, you have damaged a total of 30 tables, 120 chairs, 1 guest room, and 1 floor in our store, totaling 2.5 million spirit jade. Please compensate first before leaving, otherwise the government will make a trip. I'm so angry that I vomited blood. The newcomer didn't get slaughtered, and I still have to pay so much money. Stealing a chicken is not enough to eat rice. After Nan Sixue and the others got out of trouble, they sat on the steps by the roadside and rested. This terrible game has no safe place except for its birthplace. Fighting can occur within the city, and one's life is in jeopardy. Do you want me to avenge that woman who was at level 15 just now? Mingyu was searching for character information. She leaned over to look at the system panel and found a small square box in the upper right corner of the person's profile picture frame. She pointed to it and said, "What is this?" This is the current state of the character, and the small box is a prison, indicating that she is currently locked in prison, which is a good time for revenge. Is it too blatant to take action in prison? If it's not cost-effective to involve oneself. She refused decisively, no, when will the retribution come? I need to take this opportunity to earn some money and buy some equipment, weapons, and runes. Making money is good, the entertainment city is the fastest place to make money. Walk around, I'll take you to make money. She said, put away the system, stood up, and ran with Nan Sixue. In no time, the two stood in front of a gambling house. Give it a try, turn a bicycle into a motorcycle. After shouting the slogan, the second stunner Mingyu dragged her inside. The gambling house was overcrowded, with many players fighting and the atmosphere was lively. Mingyu took her directly to his most skilled gambling table to guess the size. Sixue, take 5 betting cards and try the water first. He exchanged a total of 10 betting cards, 1 betting card is equivalent to 100 spirit jade, and he squandered 1,000 spirit jade in one go. Nan Sixue is curious about how much money he has on him. To her knowledge, the teleportation talisman of 10,000 spirit jade and the light shield talisman are probably not cheap either. He used a teleportation talisman and 2 light shield talismans on her. I really don't know how much debt he still owes. Worry. She held the betting card and didn't place a bet, carefully listening to the banker roll the dice. Shake it. The banker clasped the dice cup on the table and said, buy it, don't move it. She guessed that this game should be small. The banker opened the dice cup and found 221 inside, small. She guessed it right. Next, she listened to a few rounds and found herself lucky, guessing correctly every time. When preparing to bet on the next round, Mingyu next to him came over with a box of betting cards. She saw at least 50 signs inside. What a rich and powerful person. I just heard him gasp and say, I don't believe it, I can't turn the tables. Oh, it turns out he has already lost all 5 bets. He looked at her and saw that she still had 5 bet cards in her hand. Why haven't you placed your bet yet? Are you afraid of losing? Don't be afraid, just place your bet. If you don't lose, I'll give you another bet card. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. 010, Do you dare to bet a game? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Do you dare to bet a game? It can be confirmed that Mingyu is a rookie with a lot of money. And he's also different from Nan Sixue. When she's younger, he'll bet more, and when she's older, he'll bet less. It is also said that this is a strategy of winning without losing. As a result, she didn't win enough for him to lose too much. So, why did she listen to these silly words and waste time at the gambling house? People and vegetables love to play, they insist on losing all their possessions before giving up. Although she didn't lose her fortune, both of them became penniless and impoverished. Is it fun? After the two were thrown out by the gambler Xiaoxi, Nan Sixue wanted to act separately from him. He didn't want to. Hey, you've just arrived and you're not familiar with the place. What if you're being chased again? With me around, I can still take you running. No need, just lend me 2 teleportation symbols. She had a tough attitude, so he had to obediently take out the talisman and hand it to her. Be careful yourself, I'll recharge offline first. Offline? Is that what I understand? Can we go offline? She asked after herself. Mingyu said, sure, if you break through level 4, you can go offline at any time. Didn't GM tell you the rules? It said that we need to defeat the mainland to return to the real world. It seems that it is only targeting me. I'll leave first, see you tomorrow. He finished bowing and flew away in a beam of light. Nan Sixue turned around and walked towards the gambling house. She hid a betting card, which she had to use to make a profit, and then went to study how to obtain the system. This game is too unfriendly to her, she needs to leave quickly. The gambling house attendant saw her return and quickly stopped her from entering. If you don't have money, get out of here. She played the last bet card and said, get out of the way. Xiaoxi recognized money but not people, and immediately greeted with a smile, welcome, this female hero. Please come inside. She lifted her foot in and returned to the previous gambling table. The banker recognized her, and this little girl won by hand. Fortunately, her companions lost by hand, otherwise he wouldn't be able to sit still as a banker. Miss, our lucky gambling house has rules. One person cannot win 100 times in the same project. You'd better go somewhere else to play. Surrounding players also recognize her, and they have made a lot of money by placing bets with her. How could such a god of wealth be released? Master Zhuang, when will there be rules? Why don't we know? Yeah, aren't you afraid she might win all your prize pool? Sister, he won't let you play. How about we take you to another gambling house to continue playing? Everyone gathered around her, threatening to shift positions. Nan Sixue naturally agreed, so she followed them out. The banker is panicking, and all the customers have run away. It's impossible to explain to the boss. Wait a minute. Everyone, stay behind. Everyone stopped and turned to look at him. He gritted his teeth and said, I'll make an exception and let you play again. As per Nan Sixue's intention, she was originally here to play a game. But the players are not willing. A handful is too few, right? Let's go for a walk, let's go to the neighboring gold and silver building. Just that, this lucky gambling house is too stingy. We won't come back in the future. Do you think they're the only gambling house in the whole city? Little sister, let's go. Master, take you and me to a more fun place. The riot they caused caught everyone's attention. What happened? It seems like there's a conflict with the banker. That little sister seems to be the god of gambling. There was no defeat in the whole game, and the banker was afraid. Is it really fake? Really, I was there just now, following a few moves and winning a lot. They seem to be going to the gold and silver building to play, let's go and take a look too. Okay, let's go. For a moment, all players followed the trend and left. All the merchants were completely panicked and quickly kept customers, but the effect was minimal. At this moment, a rather arrogant male voice came from the second floor. Miss Nan, dare you bet a game with me? End of this chapter.